Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we're going to take a look at in this video is the GL.inet Slate 7 Wi-Fi 7 dual band travel router. I want to thank GL.inet for sending this over. And I opened the box and I looked at what was in it, but I actually haven't configured it yet. I thought that we would go ahead and open this up together and we would look at it my first time with us together. We'll poke around it. We'll do some speed tests. We'll look at the features. So in the box, when you open it up, you get a Connect with GL.inet. They've got a QR code that takes you to their website, some things like that. We've got a getting started guide. Who needs that? We have the router itself. Before we get that, we have a plethora of different power plugs for different places. We will use the one that's for the US here. And then you get the router. I gotta see if I can get this out of here without spilling everything. Get the router itself. And then you get an Ethernet cable and a power cable. So let's take a look at the router itself. It's pretty compact. I have a TP-Link travel router here, and you can see. So I've thought about building my own travel router, and I used to have some of the older GL.inet, the little yellow ones. I used to have some of those, and I just really was excited when they sent this because now I still might do a video on building a travel router with a Raspberry Pi, but when you have a company that can put everything together like this and just make it work without too much tweaking, this hits a much larger, consumer base and customer base than building with a Raspberry Pi. I'm not against that, but I think there's definitely a need for these turnkey products that just work, right? So after I get this configured, I am going to be taking this with me different places, and so I'll be doing updates, and it will be my main router as I'm out and about. So we've got an LED screen here on the front. You can see the antennas on the side. On this side, looks like we've got some sort of, I don't know if that's WPS on the side. Oh, we've got a mode button on the side so we can switch modes on the side there, and then it looks like we got maybe a reset button right there. So mode, and then on the back we have a USB port, we have a WAN and a LAN that are both 2.5 gig, and then we have USB-C power. You can see we've got rubber feet mounted on the bottom, and this is just a really nice device. On the bottom, it's got, I'm gonna have to take a picture of this, but it's got the default IP address and some other information on there. So I'm going to take a picture of this so that I can blow this up real quick and take a look at it. Let's see. So it's got the SSID, the IP address, the key, serial number, device ID, and the MAC address. And the official model on this is the GL.BE 3600. So what I'm going to do is I have a 1 gig connection here in my office. I don't always get 1 gig to the internet. It just depends how busy everyone around me is. But what we're going to do is I'm going to plug my computer into this. I'm going to uplink this to a stack of equipment back here. And then we're going to log into this thing for the first time. And you're going to get my reaction as I log into this and check it out. So stand by, let me get that all plugged in, and we'll get moving here. All right, and this was a little unexpected. If I'd have read the notes, I probably would have known this was going to happen, but as soon as this thing powered up, it came up, and it's asking me to set my admin password. So it's got to be a minimum of 10 characters. And I can not need that, so it's got to be a minimum of 5 if you turn off the prevent weak password. I kind of like that though. All right, so let's go next. Okay, Wi-Fi name. So it asks us to set up a 2.4 and a 5 At the same time, I'm just going to change these to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think. Yep. I'm just going to change it for testing both of those. And then we've got this 160 megahertz dynamic bandwidth, has higher throughput, better signal coverage. After enabling this function, you'll need to wait. Okay, so it's basically what it's telling you is that those channels operate in the DFS space, which is affected by radar, and so you can't. If radar is detected, you have to stop transmitting, right? So that's pretty cool that they do that on the front end. So while we're waiting for that to load, so this does run on OpenWRT. It's Wi-Fi 7. Can be a VPN client or server. Dual 2.5 gig ports. Can do DNS encryption. Has MLO. Oh, and that LCD is also a touchscreen. It's running a Qualcomm quad-core processor at 1.1 gigahertz. It's got 1 gig of memory, 512 megs of storage. This is Wi-Fi 7, but it does not have 6 gigahertz, so it is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz only. You can see our power input here, Type C. Power consumption is less than 18 watts for the router itself. So we've got firmware, datasheet, app, unboxing videos, tutorial, media kit, all those things. Let's see where we're at with this. Okay, so it immediately prompted me to upgrade the firmware. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let this thing upgrade. Uh-oh, download fail. Retry. Uh-oh, can't do an online upgrade. So we'll have to figure that out. So we'll come back to that. But here, it's asking us which network mode we want to use, whether we want to do Ethernet connected, whether we want to be a repeater, or whether we want to tether or something else. So I'm actually temporarily going to just say Ethernet. And I wonder if I don't have, do I not have a WAN connection? I don't know. So let's see here what it says. So it says I've got one Ethernet, but I don't have the second Ethernet. So that, but wait a minute, it got out. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a beginner. You're seeing this. This is my reaction. Like, this is the first time I've been in here. So it's got AdGuard built in, Tor, VPN, IPv6. If we hover over our networks, there's a QR code that you can scan to get into those. Yeah, Ethernet one's working. Look at that. DHCP coming right from the unified network behind me. Repeater is disabled, tethering is disabled, and cellular modem, we don't have one of those either. I really wonder why the firmware wouldn't upgrade. Let's see what happens here. Try it again. Now it's going. It didn't go that first time. I don't know why. I'm going to let this install. I'm going to pause this, and we'll be right back. While it's upgrading, it tells you do not refresh the page until the upgrade is finished. So I'm going to move away from this page. We're going to go over here to Amazon and look at the price on this. $169.90. So I'll leave an affiliate link to this down below if you want to pick one up, and you can make your own decisions about these. So we're going to get back to this firmware upgrade, and I'll be right back. All right, it looks like we are back in business. It rebooted and it refreshed the page. So we're going to put in that admin password, and it seems to be much happier. I really like this interface. It's kind of clean. It's kind of slick. All right, so up here at the top, we've got this little cloud icon, and I don't have cloud services enabled. I'm sure I get all kinds of perks if I do that. We can reboot it. We can log out. What's this? Oh, we can change the theme there. We can change the language. That's pretty cool. All right, so back to Ethernet 1. We are at DHCP. We can modify this, set a static IP. We could also use PPPoE, VLANs if we need to. This thing is ready to get you internet access for sure. All right, so if we go to wireless, We can do MLO wireless, and we've got MLO guest Wi-Fi. Down here we've got 5 gigahertz. So we can do MLO, we can do 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. And right now the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz are separated. But we can turn on MLO, and we can also do it for the guest network. And look at this. I mean, this is a really nice, thoughtful interface because I have my main Wi-Fi network, I have my guest Wi-Fi network. And this is very much set up so that it is guest. It knows that. So it's probably doing some things in the background that we can't necessarily see. Our default settings here, here's our SSID. It is WPA2. We can modify that, make it WPA3. We're going to leave that password the same. We're not going to hide our SSID. Wi-Fi mode is set at the highest that we can go, which should be Wi-Fi 7. Bandwidth set at 80 megahertz out of the box. I'm not upset with that. Channel is auto. We'll go ahead and apply that. And the really nice thing about these projects being built on top of OpenWRT is they're likely giving back to the community updates. They get them. There's a lot of router manufacturers that are starting to use OpenWRT. So we can also change our 2.4 gigahertz setup there. Here we've got clients. You can see my speed, my traffic from my PC, my Mac, my IP. I can block this. I can do block list here. I can view the details and get back to clients there. I can modify, so I can change the device type, give it a different name. That's pretty cool. All right, so cloud services. So the cloud services with GL.inet, you have Good Cloud and you have AstroWarp. So with Good Cloud, you can manage blocks of routers. So basically, it's a way for us to manage lots of devices, or even a single device, but doing it through the cloud instead of having to do it from the device itself. And then AstroWarp is the service from GL.inet where you can, it's like a huge overlay VPN, and you can connect all of your GL.inet devices, and then you can tell basically by clicking the mouse how you want the traffic to route. It's pretty cool. And right here it tells us when AstroWarp is enabled, open VPN client, WireGuard client, Tor, toggle button settings, tailscale, zero tier, and network mode cannot be used. So if you use AstroWarp, it's going to disable some of the options, some of the available modules on your router. I'm going to get into AstroWarp. I've got to get another GL.inet device, and once I do that, then we can probably do this. I don't know if you need their new home router that they came out with necessarily to do that, or if I can do this with 2 Slate 7s. We'll find out. Under VPN, we've got here at the top, we've got a client, and we've got this global proxy button. And if the VPN is connected, all traffic will be routed through the VPN. Only one VPN client instance can be activated. So for the client, we either need to use OpenVPN or we need to use WireGuard. But this global proxy mode routes everything out the VPN, or we can do it in policy based on the target domain or IP. We can go through the VPN or not based on the client device. So you can say certain clients don't use the VPN. That's slick. Or we can do it based on VLANs. So we're going to get into this. This likely supports VLANs. Then route mode, we've got auto detect. The routing rules defined in each VPN client configuration file or issued by the VPN server will be used, or we can do customized routing rules there, which we're just going to go back up to global proxy because that's how I will use it. So I'm going to connect this to my home network via WireGuard. But if we go to WireGuard and we go set up now, it's going to ask us which of these providers do you want to use, or do you want to add it manually? So I can drop my text or my comp file right in here. That's pretty slick. All right, so open VPN client. They've got Nord VPN built in, or we can do that add manually where we can drop the OVPN file in. I'm digging that. This can be an OpenVPN server itself, or it can be a WireGuard server. And it can also be a Tor node. It says here, when Tor is enabled, the following features will not work properly: VPN, DNS, IPv6, and AdGuard Home, which is interesting. That's probably because it bypasses those things. All right, so under applications for plugins, holy cow. So when we click plugins, immediately we're getting the list is refreshing. Please wait. I don't know how many plugins are available for this, but I think we're about to find out. While that's loading, under applications, we got Dyn DNS, network storage, AdGuard Home, parental control, zero tier, and Tailscale. So we'll be checking those out. And look at, there are, let's see if we can see how many of these there are. Free space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Per page, there's 1,129 pages. So there's lots of modules that you can install, and I'm assuming a lot of these are the OpenWRT modules as well. Under dynamic DNS, so they give us, GL.inet gives us dynamic DNS, and they just go ahead and assign it right to our device. That's pretty cool. So that's like the easiest dynamic DNS setup that there is. Network storage, if we were to plug some sort of a USB device into this, we could enable Samba, WebDAV, DL.NA, have different shared folders on there, and we can add 10 different users for file management. That's pretty slick. Got AdGuard Home built in, so if we turn this on and apply it, we'll see what happens here. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of, so we get a little bit more information down here. And if we go to the settings page, this must be running maybe in a container. Docker on the device, maybe, or maybe it's, I don't know how they're doing it. But here we can come in here and we can change all of our AdGuard Home. I really like AdGuard. Also like some of the other applications, but AdGuard works really slick. And I'm a sucker for the interface, if I'm being honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off while we're doing our testing. All right, so over here under parental control, this feature does not work because network acceleration is enabled. So we haven't got to network yet, but if we turn off network acceleration, the hardware acceleration, then our parental control will work. And if the devices are unmanaged, let's go ahead and turn that network acceleration off real quick so we can get to the rest of this parental control setup. Let's just see what this is all about. Blocked WAN for unmanaged devices. All right, create a profile for your child or family. First, select the client devices used by your children or your family, depending upon whether you want to control network access to all devices for your entire family or whether you want to control access for each child separately. After that, we can do all the things. So this kind of reminds me of the way that Synology handles it with these different profiles. So if I go full network, we'll go next. And we could select my device. We can block internet access or no internet access. We can add a new rule set, and we can do all kinds of things here. I've not done that here before, so I'm going to have to read up on that a little bit. I'm just going to click no limit there and click finish. You have successfully created a profile. If you need to do more details, we'll do that later. So I'm going to have to play with this, but I'm pretty sure that we can set this up the same way that we set Synology, where you have a whole network profile. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off real quick. Then we have one of my favorite features, zero tier. They have it built right into the UI. If you don't know what zero tier is, it is like an overlay VPN. Uh, it very easily works through CGNAT, through double NAT, triple NAT, all those things, and can help you create, a VPN network where you can manage things and people don't even know that it really exists. Tailscale, you can do the same thing. So it looks like we've got Tailscale that we can enable in here. All right, under network, we have a pretty lengthy network setup here. So we can do port forwarding, or it has a DMZ. That's pretty cool. So we can add port forwards here, TCP and UDP, or we could select each other. External zone would be our WAN. External port, internal port would be our LAN, our internal IP. Pretty sweet. Doesn't look like here we can limit the IPs of incoming hosts to that, but that's all right. DMZ will expose that entire device to the internet, whatever we point that to. And it gets the highest priority. All right, multi-WAN. So if we have this tethered, if we also have it in repeater mode, and if we use a USB, we can have multiple WANs on this little device, and we can set the priorities of those WANs, and we can do failover or we can do load balancing. That is slick. Oh, it's got sensitivity options. So if it's gonna, change around things on the WAN, are we low sensitivity, medium, high, or customized? And that changes the interval time, right? So you can do half-second pings. That is very nice. Under LAN, we have our default setup here. We can do AP isolation. Here's our DHCP server setup. Under advanced, we can hand out different gateway, DNS, things like that. We can do a DHCP reservation. Here's our guest network setup. And this all came out of the box. I didn't have to do anything. I do have guest Wi-Fi disabled. DNS, we can do DNS server. We can do automatic. We can do encrypted, manual, or DNS proxy. DNS rebind attack protection, override DNS settings of all clients, which means we are anything that's not encrypted DNS, we're going to grab it, we're going to use the DNS servers we want, and then we're going to return it to the client. Allow custom DNS to override VPN DNS. We can edit hosts in here. So we can edit the host file right from here. Slick. Here's port management. This would be our wired Ethernet ports. So LAN is set as LAN. Looks like we could do 2 wired WANs as well. And you can see on the LAN I am connected at 2.5 gig. Network mode, right now it's a router. We have that access point mode, extender mode, and WDS, which is similar to extender. Please choose WDS if your main router supports WDS mode. So right now I'm just in router mode. Looks like it fully supports IP version 6. Drop-in gateway. When drop-in gateway mode is enabled, all traffic from clients on the network is first processed by this router. You can use this mode to extend the functionality of your primary router. Please note that in drop-in router mode, the VPN policy of this device will not work for clients from the WAN port. So we can drop this in front of another router and manipulate the traffic. That's pretty slick. IGMP snooping. Here's that network acceleration. We turned it off. Here's our NAT settings. Enable full cone NAT. Full cone NAT can be used to reduce game latency, but enabling full cone NAT may be less secure. And then it's got SIP ALG, which is disabled by default. Under system, we've got our overview. We've got that upgrade screen, and you can do it online or you can download it. We've got scheduled tasks for the LED, so we can turn it on and off. We can schedule a reboot. We can turn MLO, 5 gig, and 2.4 on and off as we want. Display management. So I'm thinking this is for the display. I don't know if this is for the front or not, Could be. Like I said, we're doing this at the same time, and I'm going to be, taking this thing with me. And so I'm going to get to try out a lot of these things and tinker. Here's our time zone setup. That was automatic. So toggle button, if we turn we can change that little mode button. Right now it's got nothing. We can set it up so that we can turn AdGuard on and off, Open VPN on and off, Tor on or off, or WireGuard on or off. That's slick. Very slick. Here's our logs, and we can export the logs, and looks like we got a standard Linux system log, the kernel log, crash log, cloud log, and Nginx log. Under security, we can change our admin password. We can change the port. We can force HTTPS. It's got SSH, remote control access, so we can allow us to manage this from the WAN. I don't recommend that. And then open ports on the router. For security reasons, the services that you install on the device are only open to its LAN network. So we can open, like if we're installing other things, we can open it on the WAN as well. Probably not a real great idea. We've got a firmware reset that if you're having problems, you can delete everything and reboot. And then under advanced settings, you can modify advanced settings with Lucy, the default web interface of OpenWRT. So we could go to the actual OpenWRT interface. Slick, very slick. So I am super excited to try this out. If any of you know if we can use Astro Warp with Slate 7 to Slate 7, let me know. I bet if I click Learn More, it's going to tell me what devices I need to have. Let's see. Feature. Use case. So here they've got like the bigger GL.inet router, which I don't know if I know they're using that, right? But I don't know if we need to have that or not. I'm going to have to dig into that. If you know, let me know down below. I'm super, excuse me, super excited about this router, about not having to hack things together, that they have this system that's in place, and they have this niche, and they have really dug into it. So if you're running these routers, let me know what your experiences are down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and share. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with affiliate links for this and other devices. And if you need IT consulting, you want to get a VPN set up from home or to a virtual private server that's out in the internet to route all your traffic, or you need voice over IP, wired and wireless networking, security, storage, head on over to williehow.com, fill out the contact form that's on the front page, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Come on over to community.williehow.com and tell me about your experiences and the rest of the community with your GL.inet devices. Once again, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.